In my last posting, I said I would talk about how our veterans are being abused by the politicians in Washington. So here I am, and this is what we're going to do today. Beginning with in 2007, two Washington Post reporters published articles exposing the filthy living conditions which enlisted wounded personnel, wounded veterans, were forced to endure while trying to recuperate from severe injuries incurred in Afghanistan and Iraq. These wounded veterans, who are feckless politicians described as heroes, were living in moldy, rat and cockroach infested quarters, which probably compare unfavorably to the Hanoi Hilton. But that isn't the beginning of the abuse. As far back as 1999, allegations of poor living conditions at Walter Reed had been made and ignored. Requests for funds to improve living conditions for recuperating enlisted personnel were repeatedly refused. Oh well, they're only enlisted personnel. And the military caste system places them lower than untouchables in India, especially after they have become disabled and can no longer be used for cannon fodder. As a result of this expose, two generals were relieved of duty and one retired. The officers are Lieutenant General Kenneth E. Kiley, who retired, and Major Generals Kenneth L. Farmer and George W. Waitman, both of whom were relieved of duty. All three should have been court-martialed and should be serving time in Leavenworth for abusing troops. In addition, the Secretary of the Army, Francis J. Harvey, resigned. Good riddance. Now there is a new Walter Reed, which opened in 2011. Its mission statement says they are committed to giving the best treatment to recuperating personnel. That's fine, but let's take a look at some facts. The building, which houses the most severely wounded, many of them multiple amputees, and those with bad head wounds, had a Warriors Cafe where these veterans could go for a meal. It was a short distance down the hall and easier for even the most badly wounded to access. Recently, after less than 3 years in operation, some SOB wanted to close it. This would have made these people wheel, hobble, or crawl half a mile to a temporary facility to get a meal. When you total it up, it's a half a mile out and a half mile back, times 3 times a day, times 7 days a week. That equals 21 miles per week just to eat. And they should be conserving their strength to aid in their recovery. Again, only enlisted personnel were involved. I don't know who was responsible for this insult, but here's another candidate for court-martial. Fortunately, this proposal was rescinded. Then, of course, there is the neglect of the politicians to press for better mine detection. Most of our casualties in Afghanistan have come from roadside bombs. They are basically crude devices which have been easy to detect since World War II. It's true there have been some refinements, but it has been over 60 years since World War II, and we, as the most technologically advanced country on Earth, should have been able to devise a system to neutralize them safely in short order. We built an atom bomb in 6 years. We put a man on the moon in 8 years. We've been in Afghanistan 12 years now, and our people are still being blown up. If that isn't obviously neglect, I don't know what is. The latest insult to our veterans is, I'm not sure if it's the latest because it's hard to keep track of them on a daily basis, is contained in the budget deal agreed to by Senator Murray and Congressman Paul Ryan. This deal doesn't balance the budget or even cut spending. In fact, it spends $60 billion more than the 2013 budget. It also contains a provision to cut veterans' pensions cost of living adjustments by 1%. Why? What's the point? They're already putting us deeper in debt with its proposal, so why not dig a little deeper? This can only be interpreted as a deliberate expression of contempt and hate for our veterans. There was no proposal to cut the cost of living adjustments for federal workers, or God forbid for congressmen. Only the veterans took it in the neck. Paul Ryan was supposed to be a budget hawk. Instead, he turns out to be a budget chicken. Find out if your senators and congressmen voted for this budget. If they did, please vote them out of office. There's an old saying in the service that if something's completely useless, it's not worth the powder to blow it to hell. And anybody who voted for this budget falls into that category. That's all I have for now. I'll just give you if you want to find out who your congressman is and how to get in touch with him. That's the address on the top. The bottom one is my email address. If you have any comments or you think I'm crazy and want to ball me out. So that's it for now, but I'll be back and I'll probably be talking about the budget and how it's ruining the country and will eventually lead to a huge disaster for everybody. I'll be back.